For us, it's a daily thing.
It's every day, right?
This is Mammoth Daily
We're going to take you inside the locker room
with Mike Folta.
We want this show to be about the fans, and we want this show to be driven by our Utah Mammoth community.
And Adrian Denny.
Fans can submit what they want to hear us talk about, what they want to hear Utah weigh in on. It's all going to be here.
Here's Mike and AD with you.
Utahns, countrymen, lend me your ears.
Right here on Mammoth Daily.
Back home again on the Wasatch front. Adrian, it is so good to be back. Mike Folta, Adrian Denny here alongside you as we kick off our work week here on Mammoth Daily. We've got our Monday morning power play coming up, but the big news of the day, Adrian, is that after a long 10-day road trip that took us from Thanksgiving into the first week of December, I now have finally had time to put up my Christmas decorations at my place. So feeling a little festive here as we enter this holiday season, and Utah able to pick up 2 wins on the road trip to somewhat salvage it, even though they limp back to the Delta Center following a 2-0 shutout loss at the hands of the Calgary Flames. But the big news is it's good to be back, Adrian. That's the most important thing. Some home cooking coming up for this team.
How about this narrative, Mike? The Mammoth have the most home games left of any other team in the National Hockey League the rest of the way. So they've played the most road games, 19. That means they've got the most home games coming up. 30 of 52 at the Delta Center starting tonight against the Los Angeles Kings. Boy, that has to make you feel good as you get off plane after plane after plane in the middle of the night in foreign countries, in different cities. And now, Mike, it's going to be you leaving the Delta Center after a game, going straight to your scooter and zooming back to your apartment downtown that is now fully decorated for the holidays.
You know, and it is great to be back, but I did see a lot of Mammoth jerseys on the road, and I've said this a couple times on the show, but we're in Calgary at the Saddle Dome, a venue that I really enjoy going to. It's not going to be around forever. They're building the new one next door in Calgary, but the Saddle Dome has this gondola, and to get to the gondola, you have to go like across this catwalk that it's like Shrek and Donkey walking across the like boiling lake of lava and to get to the castle. And that's what it feels like across this catwalk that's directly over the ice. But you're in this radio gondola, and there's actually seats behind you. And that's what happens in a lot of these gondolas in NHL buildings. It's Seattle, Montreal, anywhere that has one of these gondolas, there are seats that are actually behind you, and the angle is so steep that the seats behind you don't need to worry about the gondola blocking their view. But I'm looking behind me, just kind of, people watching, and I'm seeing Mountain Blue everywhere. In Calgary, I was looking for our good friend Jerry, who's Mammoth Almanac on Twitter, big Calgary Flames fan, turned Utah Mammoth fan. Didn't see Jerry, but saw a lot of Mountain Blue. So we were surrounded by friends, even though we're on the road. But gosh, it is good to be back. We got in at a reasonable time, late Saturday night, early Sunday morning, and guys get a day off yesterday, and now back to work tonight. Adrian, against a Kings team that Utah's never beaten before.
Yeah, so we go from 2 teams that we had never lost before in regulation to Vancouver and Calgary, and you include Anaheim and San Jose in that, Mike, from last week. Hadn't lost to any of those teams in regulation before last week. And now we go to an LA team that, that they're tight checking. They're strong defensively. Darcy Kemper's a really good goalie. They don't allow much. Their challenge this year has been scoring goals. They're coming off of a game that they just beat the Chicago Blackhawks 6-0 on Saturday after they lost to them at home on Thursday. And the narrative was, this team can't score goals. 29th in the NHL in scoring entering Saturday, but they put up 6. They're good on the road. 9-2-4 on the road, tied for the third most wins. And you were talking on the broadcast on Saturday night from Calgary about how Kings fans are, kind of wondering what's going on here. And I guess they just watched the home games, Mike, because they're 4-6-3 at home, but they're 9-2-4 on the road and in third place, pretty much where they are every single season in that Pacific Division. But they were a challenge for Utah last year. The games were pretty close. They were low scoring, but Utah just couldn't quite get over the top against them. We saw a good game against the Kings in the preseason. Really nice performance from Vitek Vanacek in the Delta Center preseason contest that we saw on the Saturday night, I believe it was the final one of the preseason. So we'll see what we can do a year later, a year better against the LA Kings. But Mike, I thought the fans would appreciate this as we take a look at our LA scouting report. Hey, guess what? Worst power play in the NHL belongs to the LA Kings, 12.9% entering the weekend.
Yeah, they've felt the pain on the power play the same way Utah had through November and into that road trip a little bit. And that's a big reason why their scoring has been down. That 6-goal outburst for them against Chicago felt like it was needed for that group who had only scored 4 goals across their previous 3 games. They're just coming off a 4-game homestand, and it was looking a little dicey there for a bit for the Kings, who are currently in third place in the Pacific Division, led by Adrian Kempe in terms of scoring 24 points on the year. They don't have anybody who jumps out offensively, numbers-wise so far. Kevin Fiala leads the team with 10 goals. He's their only player, Adrian, that has double-digit goals on the year. They do spread it around a little bit more. They've got 11 guys with at least 4 goals this year, where even though Utah has scored more as a team, the Mammoth only have 8 guys that have scored 4 or more. So the Mammoth a little bit more concentrated in the offensive output, whereas the Kings spread it around a little bit more. And I think once this power play gets going and once they figure out home ice, this will be a force to be reckoned with. One of a few teams in the Pacific Division, Adrian, that stumbled out of the gates a little bit, and maybe you can attribute that to other teams in the Pacific stepping up, Seattle, Anaheim, and San Jose. But the flip side of that is LA, Vegas, and Edmonton stumbling early in the season, and those are all 3 teams that have played a lot of postseason hockey throughout the last several years. Now, the Kings haven't made it very far in the postseason recently. They've lost to the Edmonton Oilers, and kind of the story in Kingsland is whatever we do, we have to be able to get past Edmonton. And you look at the way they're built, a defense-first team most of the time. It feels like they are built to try and stop the high-flying attacks of the high-scoring teams like Edmonton and like Vegas.
And they made some changes. They had to fill in some roster spots in the offseason defensively, adding veteran defensemen like Cody Ceci, who had been with the Edmonton Oilers and been part of their run, and they had some defensemen go elsewhere. They made a trade or two, and so that was a question: can defensemen like Cody Ceci playing a role, can they continue on without dropping back defensively? And so far, as you said, it got off to kind of a rough start. And you're watching Anaheim's like, oh boy, these veteran D that they added are kind of over the hill. But it's settled down, and LA's pretty much back where they are every single season. Brant Clark is a young defenseman who's been building for the last couple years, and he's averaging 2 minutes more a game this season. So he's stepped into a good role, but they're kind of tight and stingy. And Mike, after the game on Saturday night, Nate Schmidt made a couple comments about the Mammoth just needing to get inside more to score goals when you're going up against a goalie like Dustin Wolf was on Saturday night, who made 27 saves. But was he tested? I gave Utah a D in their quality of scoring chances on Hockey Night in Utah postgame on Saturday night. So against LA, I think that's another area of emphasis that the Mammoth really need to
Yeah.
drive in on is getting to the inside there to score goals.
Yeah, do we have that cut from Nate? Can we go to that here?
Yeah, this is what he said after, and Mike, it's not totally direct, right? Saw some fans wondering what exactly is he talking about here, but the comment before was about getting to the inside, and I think right here he's kind of going on more about that first statement right here, talking about the brand of hockey.
There's a brand of hockey that needs to be played. There's a brand that needs to be played in order to win this time of year, and when you get down to the end of the year, right? Like there's a certain style you need to play in order to do it, and it takes the commitment in order to do it, right? You just have to find whether or not you want to do it or not.
Yeah, and I agree with you, Adrian. Utah struggling to get to the inside against Calgary, and that's something that this team has struggled with at times throughout the year. You look at the numbers that our good friends over at SportLogic sent over, and this Kings team, we know they're one of the best defensively in terms of just goals against, but when you dig a little bit deeper beneath the surface, they are one of the best teams, if not the best team, in allowing you to get to the inside. So something that the Mammoth have focused on, that they're trying to get better at, is actually one of the Kings' strengths at defending. And when you look at one of Utah's natural strengths, their ability to create scoring chances off the rush, that's also one of LA's strengths in defending as well. They do not let you get to the inside, and they stay above you. They do not allow very many scoring opportunities off the rush. So I love this game, Adrian, because it's a team that's beat you 3 times last year, and their strengths match up well against the Mammoth, and I think that's part of the reason why the Kings won all 3 matchups last year. But this is a great test for a Utah group to see if they can kind of overcome their previous inability to create scoring chances on the inside, and to see if they can create scoring chances off the rush against a Kings team that's very good at defending it. And you have to mention as well, Adrian, this all could be without Logan Cooley. We still have not seen an injury update on Utah's star centerman. We know that he was out, obviously, on Saturday against Calgary. We heard that he was going to be evaluated once the team gets back to Utah. But as we record this right now on Sunday, we haven't seen any update on Cooley. So that's your leading goal scorer right there. That's one of your most creative offensive players. And it's certainly a huge missing piece up front for the Mammoth.
You want one of my underlying things I look for, Mike, on the schedule and who we're playing and what they did before, right? We've talked about how I'll look at the schedule and I'll say, that's a schedule loss, right? And we had
don't
some
even
fans,
play the
game. We had some fans weighing in on Hockey Night in Utah Saturday, completely unsolicited by me, saying it was a scheduled loss. It was a back-to-back. It was the 6th game of a road trip. Scheduled loss. So, but I've got one more of those, Mike. Another thing I will do, and I would say that this happening means the next thing happens is maybe a 2% greater chance of adding the probability to it. But I always root for the team we're playing next to win their last game. And the LA Kings beat the Chicago Blackhawks 6-0 on Saturday night. So I always want the team we're playing, just as you look at every little detail, Mike, I always want the team we're playing to win their last game, so they come in feeling good about themselves and maybe not as desperate as LA was when they had lost to the Chicago Blackhawks on Thursday night. On the other end of it, you could say, oh, they just won a game 6-0. Did they just get hot? Are they going to go on a tear? But I always look at it. I think the percentages are better for you when you play a team that just won their last game versus a team that lost their last game. So I was rooting for the LA Kings on Saturday night, and they made me happy.
That would be a great nugget to dig into. Record against teams that had a win in the previous game or a big win. Because I'm the same way, Adrian. My biggest fear is the great day of practice. We saw this for Utah after they got clobbered 6-3 against San Jose, just a sloppy game, got away from them early. And what happened the next day? The Mammoth had a great day of practice. Bear lit into them. There were lots of one-way conversations. I thought that was a perfect way of describing that by Nick Olchek. And Utah had a great day of practice. And what happened after that? They win 7-0 against the Anaheim Ducks. So I am always wary of other teams having that great day of practice. And usually you're not going to get lit into after you win 6-0. But a great test for the Mammoth tonight. AD, we will see everybody at the top of Section 7 on the 6-7 side of that section on Hockey Night in Utah as we roll on. And as always, feel free to stop by and interview us if you want. We've had our good friend Nate had a great interview with Adrian Denny earlier. So that's always welcome as well. But Adrian, anything else on tonight's game and on LA before we move on to our Monday morning power play?
Just excited to be home, as you said. Excited to see everybody. Hope we see as many people as can stop by that are available. It's a Monday night, Mike. Everybody's going to be racing home from work, have dinner, get in the car, 7 o'clock face off. But if you happen to be in the arena between 6 and 7, stop by, say hi. We'd love to catch up. Wednesday before Thanksgiving, Mike, seems like a really long time ago. That was our last home game.
It was a lifetime ago. And I'll tell you what else will be nice is having some regular start times, like playing at 7, then at 7, then at 7. Whereas like our body clocks, everybody who's on the road, I think all of our body clocks are all kinds of messed up, playing a late game on the West Coast and an early game in the Mountain Time Zone. And we're still trying to figure out up from down as we get back to real life on Sunday and reacquainted with our living abodes. But it'll be great to see everybody. As always, like I said, say hi. But AD, let's move on to our Monday morning power play where we've got a whole bunch of storylines to get to.
And now, time for the Monday morning power play.
Moving on to our Monday morning power play as we open up your work week. 3 games this week at home for the Utah Mammoth, the LA Kings, the defending Stanley Cup Florida Panthers, and then the Seattle Kraken as well. But we've got 5 storylines here for you on your Monday morning power play as we snap it around after a clean face-off win. And AD, I think I'll take the 3 this time. I'll leave you with 2, but it's hard not to get to this storyline right off the rip. Logan Cooley's health is a huge storyline for this team, and it was a storyline last week as well. We've seen Cooley take some big collisions the last week during this past road trip. He took the knee-on-knee hit from Alexei Toropchenko in the game against St. Louis. He took that same left leg and hit it against the post as he was crashing in with speed the other night against Vancouver late in that game. And he missed the game on Saturday, and they're saying that he is going to undergo some further testing back home in Utah. As we record this right now, we don't have an update on him. But Adrian, Cooley missed 7 games last year. That was from January to February, and really he would have missed more games, but the Olympic break was right there. And so Utah got a little bit lucky that Cooley's injury happened when it did. The Mammoth went 3-3-1 in that span, so they made it 500 in the games that Cooley was out. But all 3 of those wins were in overtime or a shootout. Gunther had those back-to-back overtime winners, and then Utah had kind of a shocking shootout win over a very good Washington Capitals team on the road before we cut out to our 4 Nations break. But if Cooley, heaven forbid, if he does end up missing a significant amount of time, Adrian, do you think you have to make a move? I mean, that dramatically changes your outlook for the season.
Yeah, I guess we'll just have to wait and see. Bill Armstrong always says, he wakes up every morning and his first thought is, how can I improve the hockey club today? I think the Mammoth got a huge injection in the last week with Daniil But coming up. I still think Barrett Hayton's a guy you want in the lineup every single night. So I think with Utah's depth, I think, if something's there, you're gonna do it regardless, right? But I feel good about the depth that the Mammoth have, and I think that Daniil But really stepped in, and I think just going to keep going. But how about that kid, Mike? I know it's going to be in our Monday morning power play here, but great start by Daniil But. And last week at this time, we're wondering, oh gosh, it sounds like it's better than it looked on the ice for Logan Cooley and back in that situation again. So hoping. It's too bad. Quinn Hughes was trying to get back after Gunther made a really nice feed up ahead to Logan Cooley, and just kind of, when you're playing that fast and you got a D-man trying to get over there, just another tough collision. So we all feel the same way. All hoping the same stuff about number 92.
Yeah, and I like Utah's depth as well, but it's hard. To be honest with you, it's hard to imagine this team being in a great spot for playoffs without Logan Cooley. Right now, he leads the team with 14 goals. He's one of your most explosive and exciting players, and he's a centerman, which is a position that Utah is not as deep at. Right now, you have Nick Schmaltz playing center, and that line has done some good things with Schmaltz, Keller, and Peterka. But is that your long-term solution for the rest of the year? Schmaltz has played center before in his career, but it's not his, it's not where he has been the most productive as of late. So I'm tempted to say that you can just hold serve while Cooley is out if he does end up missing time. But if you just stay at 500 from where you are right now, you do stay within striking range of the playoffs, but you will absolutely open the door for any other teams in the West to overtake you and bury you in the pile that is the Western Conference wildcard race. But we're still waiting to see. We thought it was really bad against St. Louis, and Cooley ended up playing the next game. So who knows? But we're holding our breath here in Mammoth Nation. But AD, over to you on the half walls. We roll along in our Monday morning power play.
Mike, I'm going to say JJ Peterka with Clayton Keller and Nick Schmaltz is my number 2. He jump-started that line and had a great week. Clayton Keller had 3 points in 6 games before he had 3 points on Wednesday. Nick Schmaltz was scoreless in 8 games before he had 2 points on Wednesday. Both of those guys contributed in the win in Vancouver, with Keller and Schmaltz picking up assists and goals respectively. JJ Peterka, the 4-point night on Wednesday night, picked up an assist in Vancouver. I like JJ going up with those guys, Mike. It got him going, as you said. We'll see if it's something that stays as an everyday thing. But I wanted to ask Dom more about it, Mike, because I am on the JJ Peterka train, and I wanted to see what Dom had to say about Peterka going up with Keller and Schmaltz. And, Mike, you watched that game in Calgary on Saturday night, and it was apparent that the goalie was making the first saves, right? But you're seeing JJ Peterka, like, he's just skating around, trying to bang stuff off the back of Dustin Wolf, looking for funny angles, just trying to do anything to make something happen. But here's Dom Moore on Hockey Night in Utah on the radio on Saturday night, talking about JJ Peterka.
I do like them together, and I think we should take a minute in praise of Peterka. When you think about it, he has had very little first power play time all season until the last few games. Wasn't given that out of the gate. Spent a lot of time on the third line. Wasn't given top line minutes out of the gate. This is a guy who scored 30 goals last 2 years. And I feel like he's really earned the opportunity. I feel like he's really forced the hand of the coaches to put him on the top line and put him on the top power play. And I think you respect that in a player that's had to kind of fight for his chance, right? He's been incredibly productive despite, more limited opportunity, in the first 25 games of the season, which is really impressive. And now he's flourishing with that line. Maybe he's helped get that line going even. He's just so good at capitalizing on his chances with that lethal shot. They've been good.
Yeah, and head coach Andre Tourney has praised Peterka's battle the last couple games as well, and it was a nice burst playing with Krause and McBain. I feel like that might have rubbed off on him a little bit, because that's kind of when we saw, I don't want to say a turnaround, but that's kind of when we saw Peterka's battle levels start to elevate to what it is right now. And that's part of what started a pretty good run here for him. And yeah, when Dom speaks, we listen. So that's encouraging to hear that Dom feels the same way about JJ.
How great is that to have Dom? Like, I'm watching a game or I'm on a run and I come up with an idea or a thought. I'm like, I can't wait to ask Dom about this. And Mike, the fans too, when we get our Tuesday mailbag questions, we love it when we have the opportunity to take one straight to Dom. And tomorrow on the Tuesday mailbag, Dom will have a video answer for us coming up on goaltending. So folks, you can still get your mailbag questions in, and you never know, might take it to Dom Moore and Nick Olczyk.
I love it. Moving on here to our third storyline, 3rd of 5 in our Monday morning power play. Daniil But. He can't not be a storyline. He's a big 6-6 storyline. He made his NHL debut a few games back against Anaheim, and that storyline of him playing in his first NHL game was quickly overtaken by the way that Utah played in that game. It was 7-0. But didn't have a point, and we were talking about the team after that. But with But and Lamoureux coming up into the lineup, that was a really nice injection of positivity after Utah had just lost 4 in a row and had lost badly against San Jose. So that, I think, just the simple injection of those guys, including Daniil But, was important for Utah. And then there's his play. I think he's looked like he's belonged. He clearly has skill. He made some really nice moves with the puck against Calgary on Saturday night. He'll shoot it from anywhere. So far, he's played between 11 and 13 minutes each night. He's had a couple of shots in each game that he's played so far. He thought he had his first NHL goal a couple nights back. It was reviewed and taken off the board because Dylan Guenther ran into the goaltender. But I'm excited to see what he continues to do. The question is, will he stay? What role will they continue to have Daniil But in? And keep in mind that as But, continues to play, he'll eventually get his first point. He'll eventually get his first NHL goal. But production alone doesn't mean that he'll stay in the lineup, just goals and assists and points. Remember a few years ago, Dylan Guenther with Arizona as a rookie had 15 points in 33 games. Pretty good for a teenager playing in his first NHL action. Was about half a point per game. So not bad. They still sent him down to Tucson in January of that year. And then he next year would eventually come up in the middle of the season, and he was too good to send back down. But it's the production that's important, yes, for Daniil But, if he's going to be in a top 6 role. But if Utah is winning as well, that is important for But to stay, I think, up with the club. I think production plus winning equals But in the lineup day in and day out for Utah. I think any other equation allows the possibility of him being sent down. I'm not saying for sure he would get sent down, but if he's not producing or the team isn't winning, I think there's a possibility that he goes back down to Tucson to continue to be a huge offensive factor for that team, to play a little bit more, to be number 1 power play instead of number 2, to be the guy who gets sent out there in 3-on-3 overtime. But if he continues to help the team win and is producing, it's hard to imagine. It's very hard to imagine that he would be sent back down to the AHL.
How great's the American Hockey League, Mike? Like, Daniil But and Maverick Lamoureux, you can just tell how much more developed and how much more ready they are for the NHL in 2 months of being down with the Roadrunners. Like, Daniil But looks like he belongs, and he's got the confidence. That's the best part of him. He's got the confidence, but it's not a confidence like, oh, I'm going to do this. Hey, watch this. And
It's not
you know what I mean?
arrogant. Right.
Yeah. Yeah. But again, kudos to the coaching staff in Tucson, Steve Potvin, John Slaney, Zach Stortini, because those guys get players ready for the NHL to come up and contribute. And at expense of looking at their wins and loss record. In the American Hockey League, there are times when the wins and loss record is sacrificed because you are in a development situation, and those guys are so good at it. And we've seen so many players come up. Dylan Guenther's one of them, the latest after some time in the AHL, and you're seeing the same with Daniil But and Maverick Lamoureux.
How about this from Bear too, asking Andre Tourney about Daniil getting called up, because again, it was while Utah had lost 4 in a row, and Bear made sure to mention how But had earned this from his play in the AHL. This was not just because of needs that were being filled at the NHL level. It was because his play in the American Hockey League demanded that he get elevated to the next level, and I think that also says a lot about where number 19 is. And his first NHL goal, hopefully it comes this week in the homestand. How much more special will that be to get it at home? But he's a huge part of the future. It's just how quickly does that crystallize for the 20-year-old Russian? And we're both partial to the AHL. Adrian, we're both broadcasting graduates from there. The speed of the game, it's much quicker in the NHL, but you're going up against elite hockey players in the American Hockey League every night as well. And there's a lot of guys that have the talent to play in the NHL who are in the AHL as we speak right now. But Daniil But, one of the big storylines for Utah, and if he can start pouring them in like we saw in the American Hockey League, Mammoth are going to be in good shape. How about this, AD? Give me an over-under on goaltender interferences against Daniil But the rest of this year. Let's say the rest of this year into next year, assuming he's with the team. He's up with the NHL, the big club, next year as well. And I say this in a funny, positive way because he goes straight to the net. And we've seen that from both him and Dylan Guenther on a line together. They're going straight to the net, and they're taking shoves and pinballing around, and But is enforcing his will at the net front as well. But I think that they both could get whistled for a goaltender interference here or there just because they're going so hard to the crease.
Yeah, it's funny you bring that up, Mike, because But's first goal was disallowed because of goaltender interference on Guenther. Earlier in that game, he had a grade A scoring chance that I think would have been disallowed because of goaltender interference on Dylan Guenther. But you've heard me say it. I don't mind when a goal is disallowed for goaltender interference because that's where you need to go. That's what Nate Schmidt is talking about when he's talking about getting to the inside. Mike, my number 4 here on the Monday Morning Power Play, you talk about But, you talk about Lamoureux, and this is just the beginning. Tej Aginla, Western Hockey League Player of the Month in November. Caleb Denoye is on an absolute tear. Multiple points every night as of late with Moncton. He's up to 20 points in 15 games after he was coming back from an injury as well. And Mike, in the American Hockey League right now, is Dmitry Simashev, who's pretty close to being up here and continuing on. The AHL, though, I think will really, really help him out and be a good reset, as it is for just about everybody.
Yeah, and that's the exciting part, right? Is that the roster we have right now is only going to get enhanced with not just talented guys, but like really high-end players who we think are going to play a long time in the NHL. And great to see both Desi and Tej get off to or get back to great seasons in their respective leagues after both being injured at times. You worry about that with young guys, how that affects development, but it doesn't seem like it's slowed them down. Tej Aginla, the player of the month in the WHL for November. And yeah, it's exciting to think about like next training camp. Those guys are going to be competing for spots. Like Tej Aginla will likely be with the team next year. because he'll be ready, or at least in pro hockey as a 20-year-old. Caleb Denoye could be competing for a spot as well, and there's other prospects beyond just those guys too. But boy, there are some really high-profile guys that are waiting in the wings and are producing like you'd hope them to in their respective developmental leagues.
Yeah, there's more where that came from. So get ready for some more fun kids coming up. We've got a good roster right now. We like it. It's capable of making the playoffs, but for the Mammoth, there's a lot more on its way.
All right, let's wrap up the Monday Morning Power Play and get right to the one-timer spot for Dylan Guenther. This is usually where the power play ends because a goal has been scored. But the fifth and final big storyline for the Utah Mammoth looking at this week ahead, for me, is goaltending, Adrian. And I don't think there's any doubt about it. The Mammoth have just seen the best 3-game stretch of goaltending this season, starting with the shutout against the second-best offensive team in the league in Anaheim, 27 saves for Karel Vejmelka in that game. He comes back and I don't want to say steals the game, but you can make the argument, steals the game against Vancouver and was Utah's best player in that game against the Canucks, was huge in the first period to keep the game scoreless and was solid throughout, only got beat once in that game, and it was a tipped puck that beat him. And then Vitek Vanacek only allowed 1 goal against the Calgary Flames as well. He was really sturdy, didn't allow a ton of second chance opportunities either. The Calgary just had that 1 goal 16 seconds into the game, and that was all that Vitek allowed. And so you're seeing 3 really good games of goaltending from the Mammoth, which, let's be honest, Utah was not getting goaltending to that level throughout November when the Mammoth were the worst team in the NHL record-wise. But what is one way to mitigate things while Cooley could potentially miss time due to injury? You could miss a big offensive piece for you while the team kind of finds itself right around 500. What's one thing that can help all that? Great goaltending. And with more home games coming up for the Utah Mammoth, Karel Vejmelka, Vitek Vanacek both have better numbers at home this year, albeit in a small sample size. But even for Veggie going back to last year, his numbers were better on home ice as well. Get this, Adrian. Vitek Vanacek has just played 1 game at home this year. I mean, he started 8 games. 5 of those have been on back-to-backs, and 7 of them have been on the road. So he's getting these tough draws and tough matchups. But if the goaltending can continue to be better at home, and if it can continue to be anywhere close what we saw these last 3 games, the Mammoth are going to have a chance to win every single night. It's just a matter of, can they get the power play going? Can they get those dirty goals around the net? Because the goaltending's taking care of their end.
And Utah allows the fewest shots in the NHL. And Mike, 5-on-5, nobody's more structurally sound and better than the Mammoth are. Nothing is generated 5-on-5 against Utah. As we said, everything that's scored on the Mammoth is off of an offensive zone turnover, is in a special team situation. Utah does not allow much to be created on them. So that's another big part of it. And with Vanacek, Mike, we've seen when he gets settled into a game, he gets going. So first 5 minutes with V in goal, just come out and take care of him. Let him get settled. The goal 16 seconds in on Saturday. A couple weeks ago in San Jose, they scored 2 in the first 6 minutes, and then he stopped 18 straight the rest of the way. Last night stopped 20 straight the rest of the way after giving up that early one. When San Jose scored those 3 goals in bunches on Monday, 9 saves the rest of the way. He gets settled in. So come out and take care of him early.
Well, that wraps up our Monday morning power play. Good stuff, AD. Love snapping around in the ozone with you. But let's get to our third period here and get you on your way for the rest of your Monday, and then on to the Delta Center for Big Time Tilt against the LA Kings. But third period on Mammoth Daily, right around the corner.
This is Mammoth Daily.
Utah in action tonight against the Kings and on Wednesday against the defending champion Florida Panthers. But in between, Adrian, on the 9th of December, Tuesday, it is our SEG Pay It Forward Day, and we are inviting all of State 45 to join in with us on what's going to be a really cool day of generosity, good tidings, and good deeds throughout the entire state.
Yep, we'll be out paying it forward just like Sean Dursey and John Marino last year at Bjorn's Brew, running the coffee shop. And Mike, you and I waiting for our assignments for Tuesday, but we will be out there and paying it forward. And the great thing about year 2 of Pay It Forward is we've expanded it and inviting all of Utah to do anything, to pay it forward, whether money's involved or not, holding a door for somebody, saying hi to a stranger on the street. It's that simple. You can pay for the person's order behind you in the drive-through at lunch. You can make a donation of food to the food bank, toys. It's Christmas time, but everybody, let's pay it forward on Tuesday. And again, Mike, our players will be out again. We'll be out. Our management team and SEG employees will be doing all sorts of great stuff on our annual Pay It Forward Day. And the great thing about this year, Mike, both teams are home. So Jazz and Mammoth players all get to be involved in it.
If the Utah Mammoth players are out here paying it forward in the community in the middle of a 37-day stretch with 21 days, then you have no excuse not to pay it forward as well. It does not have to be a financial financial effort for you, but we encourage everybody to pay it forward in some way to our great communities around the state. And feel free to use the hashtag Pay It Forward. Is it Pay It Forward Utah, Adrian, or is it just Pay It Forward?
Yep, Pay It Forward Utah.
Okay, Pay It Forward Utah. And we're not publicizing these acts of kindness just to earn, I guess, a pat on the back from our social media friends, but this is a way that we're trying to grow this initiative, and through social media, more people can see it and then hopefully join in. So I hope that you see that on social media as a way to get more people to join in instead of a way to congratulate yourself. But that's going to be fun, Adrian. And I always love getting out in the community, especially with our team. And on top of that, Tuesday's busy for us. It's Pay It Forward Day, but we also have a season ticket holder event. We're skating at the Delta Center on Tuesday night as well, which is going to be a ton of fun. Are you bringing your skates, AD?
Oh, yeah. I will have the skates.
Oh, yeah. That's great. I better get mine sharpened. Holy, I'm gonna look like a Bambi on ice out there. But I haven't wheeled around for a little bit. It could be rough. Yeah, not the prettiest skater. Not exactly Apollo Ono out there. Oh. But that's gonna be a ton of fun. Skating at the Delta Center under the bright lights. Gonna have some players there as well. Season ticket holders. So if you're not a season ticket holder, you're missing out on skating with NHL players and NHL broadcasters, which is far less fun.
Yeah, just come for the entertainment there. We had the comedy show Nate Bargatze at Delta Center all last week, and now we're skating on the ice. The laughs never end downtown.
Yeah, just if you are coming to the skate at the Delta Center, just remember to keep your distance from Adrian and I. We can skate around out there. We're not totally inept, but we are we are amateurs at this. And we always had a rule, Adrian, because in the minors, like, we'd have to help do things on the ice maintenance wise. And like, I remember we'd have to, for example, put up the dasher boards, like put up the stickers on the dasher boards, things like that. So you're out there on the ice in tennis shoes. And we always had a rule. If you had 3 points of contact on the ice, you owed the office a case of beer. Was that a rule in Tucson with the Grizzly as well? Like, if you fell on the ice, you owed either the office or the staff a case of beer.
Do you know what? I've never heard of that one before. That's outstanding.
I think that should be our bet. Like, if anybody falls from the broadcast team, they owe, like, I don't know, a round of Christmas cookies or a round of drinks or a lunch or something like that.
That's fair. I like it. It's a great thing about working in sports, Mike, is no matter what, there's always some kind of competition, some kind of skin in the game involved.
Well, AD, I gotta wrap this up here. Got to get our fans, our day-to-dayers on their way for the rest of their Monday. I got to go cut down a Christmas tree, Adrian.
Okay.
And I know for sure, I know without a doubt, I would put my next per diem check on this, that you are a fake Christmas tree type of guy.
I am. I've never had a real tree in my home.
Oh,
Ever.
oh, you've never smelled the sweet aroma of a Douglas fir in your home, Adrian?
It's amazing. I love it. No reason other than, I'm nervous about the fire hazard aspect. For years I was on the road for a week or two at a time, and
Right.
nobody's checking on stuff, and so that's kind of why I eased into the artificial Christmas tree thing. But I love a real tree. Just safety first when I'm not at home all the time.
That's a good point. I'm definitely not allowed to have one per my lease agreement, but I will not let a simple signature, and I will not let a legally binding document get in the way of holiday spirit. So gonna go out, and you can actually do this. You can buy a permit, this is what I did. I just found this out. You can buy like a $10 permit and go out to these certain areas in Utah. There's not very many around the valley. I have to go out towards Stockton. But you can cut down your own tree in public land that's managed by, I think it's called Land Management Bureau. And so, yeah, it's going to be like a little Griswold adventure here to go find the right tree. And it's going to be a magical afternoon.
I could just see you driving out there in your Ford Taurus station wagon and ready to chop down the biggest tree in the forest.
I gotta keep it. Probably 6 feet. 6 feet is gonna be way too big even. So we'll figure it out. And you know what's always fun too? You can make a little wreath with the branches you cut off from the bottom, and so you also not just have a decoration for the living room, but also maybe something to adorn your door and spread some holiday cheer. But let us know if you're a real or a fake Christmas tree type of person in the YouTube comments if you're watching on YouTube. I have strong feelings about it. Adrian's airs more on the side of safety, which I respect, but definitely know that I'm not the only real Christmas tree person out there.
For me, Mike, it's everybody knows me and my space heaters, right? Which is probably the biggest fire hazard you could have in a home. But I love my space heaters, and now I've taken a space heater into the Mountain Blue Studios. I think I just gotta stick with that. Just can't have a total tinderbox in my workspace in my home.
Well, have a great Monday, everybody. We will see you tonight at the Delta Center. Come by, say hi, and be loud in the building as the Kings roll into Salt Lake City this evening. And we'll see you tonight in downtown Salt Lake City. Thanks for tuning in to another episode of Mammoth Daily. It's our Tuesday mailbag tomorrow, so make sure to submit any questions that you might have on Twitter or on our YouTube page as well. We'll see everybody.